Good morning and welcome to my assembly. We start with our liturgy. In the beginning, when God created all things, he said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Let your light shine. God is light, and in him there is no darkness. Let your light shine. Jesus said, "I am the light of the world. Let your light shine." Well, our assembly today is the animals went in 2 by 2. I wonder what you think I'm going to talk about. I've given you another clue as well. Noah did everything God had commanded him from the Bible, from the book of Genesis. So just give you a minute to think and to share. What am I going to talk about? Well, I think it's fairly obvious that it's all to do with Noah's Ark, but maybe not quite as straightforward as you think. We're talking about goals, we're talking about targets, achievements, things that we need to do to achieve those goals. I like this picture here of someone who's wanting to bridge the gap from where they are to the achievement of their goal. And they've got these jigsaw pieces. They're having to put piece by piece to make that little bridge so that they can achieve their goal. And this little puffin, just take one step at a time. That's really all you can do. I wonder how you are when you've got a big goal, a big target that you want to achieve. Are you good at persevering? Are you good at breaking that goal down into little steps? I wonder what it was like for Noah when God asked him to make the ark. It's a bit like this story, this little proverb of how do you eat an elephant? Well, an elephant is enormous. I like elephants, so I wouldn't even think about eating one. But if you had to eat an elephant, how would you eat it? And the proverb goes, one bite at a time. One bite at a time. That's the only way you'd manage to get through an elephant. One bite at a time. But back to Noah. Noah got given an enormous challenge by God. I wonder what you know about the story of Noah's Ark. Well, I've put some things down here that you probably do know, but others that you might not. So, yes, he built an ark, and it was to save the people and the animals of the world when the floods came. And the animals went in 2 by 2. But did you know how big that ark was? It was longer than a football pitch. It was as wide as an Olympic-sized swimming pool and as high as a 5-story building. That's pretty big. And I wonder whether Noah had ever built anything before. It was a pretty big challenge to do something like that if you hadn't ever done any carpentry before. There's a picture on this next slide which shows somebody who has built what they call a replica of Noah's Ark. It was finished in 2016, and I don't think it took them as long as Noah. They think that Noah's Ark took 70 years to build. This is the picture of the replica. It's enormous. You can get 10,000 people in that because there are 3 layers. There's a bottom, a middle, and a top level. 10,000 people. So I can imagine it took Noah a long, long time. Remember, he wouldn't have had the machinery that the person had to build this ark. I wonder whether after a couple of years, Noah was getting a bit fed up. I wonder whether his wife had to say, "Come on, Noah, bit by bit." 5 years and 10 years, right up to 70 years to finish it. And then once he'd built it bit by bit, the challenge didn't stop there. He then had to get all the animals in, all the birds, all the reptiles, 2 by 2, a male and a female of each species. And then he had to get food for them all. If it had been me, I don't think I'd have known what food they all eat. And how do you get them into an ark? I don't even like all the animals that Noah had to get into that ark. I'd have been quite scared if there'd been snakes and things like that. But he had to do it, and so little by little, 2 by 2, the animals went into the ark. It all goes back to how you solve a problem. Remember the elephant? 1 bite at a time. How did Noah build the ark? 1 bit at a time. How did he get the animals in? 2 by 2. Well, we don't necessarily face those sorts of problems. But at school we have problems too. Coming back after a long time in lockdown, getting back into work must be quite hard, and I'm really proud of all of you and the way that you've settled in and got engaged in your learning. We all are proud, all your teachers, so well done. Remember, when you're coming to write a story or do any writing, or in fact anything in school, there's always a beginning when you start, and a middle and an end. Makes it easier than just imagining the whole big project before you start. Think of it in chunks. And some of you might find maths a bit harder, especially when you have to do word problems, where you need to be able to read in order to solve word problems, and read and understand. So you need to take that slowly sometimes. And this lady, this girl, I think this is really funny. She's obviously struggling with fractions. And I know many of you struggle with fractions, but remember, fractions is really just about division. So if you can divide, you can do fractions. You might say, I can't divide, Mrs. Colmer. Well, can you do your times tables? Because if you can do your times tables, it's easier then to divide. And you might come back to me and say, oh, I can't do my times tables. I'm okay with my 2s and my 5s, but I can't do my 7s or my 6s. Well, can you add the same number over and over again? Because that's times tables. 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7. That's 4 times 7. So if you can do the adding, you can do the times tables. If you can do the times tables, you can divide. And if you can divide, you can do fractions. Little by little, step by step. We just have to persevere, and then we will achieve our goal. Let's just bow our heads now and think a little bit, and then I'll lead us in a prayer. So remember, how do you eat an elephant? How would you build an ark? How do you fill an ark? So what goals have you set yourself, and do you know the steps that you need to complete it? Little by little, step by step. Dear God, we thank you for all the incredible achievements that mankind has been able to make. Achievements in medicine, in technology, and in knowledge of our planet. We know there would have been so many little steps to make these goals a reality. And as we think of our own goals, help us not to lose heart, help us to persevere and take on our goal one little bit at a time. Amen. And so we come to our Child of the Week, and we want to celebrate with Eleanor in Miss Berman's class and Luca in Miss Marsden's class. Well done, both of you. Moving on to year 2, well done to Sybil in Miss Franklin's class, and to Lacey in Mrs. Thomas and Mrs. Walker's class. In Mrs. Jakes and Miss Poole's class, well done to Charlie, and Miss Croft says well done to Ashworth. We move on to Miss Lefebvre's class, and well done Ben, and in Mr. Wright's class, well done to Thomas. Nearly there. And in Mrs. O'Donough's class, the child of the week is Lily, and in Mr. Boyer's class, child of the week is Emily. And finally in year 6, well done to Lauren from Mrs. Epps and Miss Greenhill, and a big well done to Amelia from Mr. Nile. I'm sure all of you have shown resilience and perseverance in achieving your goal, whether it's in maths or in English or just in relationships or just gutsy perseverance. Well done to all of you. So we come to the end of our assembly. We say together, go in the light and peace of Jesus, in the name of Christ. Amen.